Hello, world. Hello.
What's going on?
Okay, we'll just wait for the socials to pick up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lockdown with the Loshies this Tuesday evening. I'm Bianca, the Feel Good Mama, and here we have my hubby, Anne. And together we help people with their health. We help people who want more. Specifically for me, it's mums who want more in life, specifically in their health, mindset, and also showing them how they can replace their full-time incomes from home, just like I have. So we're here tonight because we are real people talking real life stuff. And tonight we wanted to come to you live to talk about the shift and what that actually looks like. And when I posted today to promote tonight, I really wanted to paint a picture for you guys on what the shift can look like. So I'm talking like the Titanic being hit by the iceberg. All you see is the top part of this iceberg, and underneath it is like years and years of, what it took for the iceberg to actually lift and to form. And no one sees that part. No one sees the work that goes on behind the scenes to actually then witness the shift. And people all of a sudden think that the shift or the change comes out of nowhere. Where in actual fact, it's taken years to get to that point. So I don't know if my Facebook's playing up, but if anyone can comment right now, it's just doing funny things with the video. But either way, we're going to keep going. So we wanted to really paint that picture. So you're getting the visual on what we're talking about here. Let's break it down for you a little bit simpler. Something dramatic happens in your life, and according to research, it could be something along the lines of a death. Hello, Ames. Everything good with the video? You let me know. And the sound? Perfect. Could be a death, and when I say a death, I mean grief in general. It could be grief that you're undergoing in terms of someone having died around you, or perhaps it's even grief of something that you're grieving over. For example, mums tend to grieve their old selves when they first become a mum. They're unsure of who they are again, and this whole journey starts. So it could be really different. It could be even grieving a past relationship. So anyone who's going through separation or divorce. And lastly, the third thing that makes people want to make change is the birth of a child. Yeah. So someone that's either like, what did I say the first thing was? It was fear of mortality. So if you've had a health scare, like someone's had a heart attack, or someone around you's had a heart attack, or someone's, you're grieving over a certain thing, whether it's over something personally yourself, or whether it's actually someone around you that's lost their life, or the birth of a child. For me, it was the birth of a child.
Birth of a child.
Hi, Rocky. Hi, Mel. Oh, my God. Hilarious. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So, the shift happening for Bianca and myself, I'll talk about my personal experience, birth of a child. So, I don't actually know why, as human beings, we're forced into this turmoil and pushed and prodded to get to this point where you need fear of mortality, grief, or a new being coming. I don't know why that is the case. Some people have worked it out how to do it otherwise. No worries. We're saying for our experience, or for my personal experience, it was birth of a child. So when Bianca was pregnant with
actually started a little bit before that.
Probably a little bit before that, but the main reasoning behind myself trying to progress or trying to get better was, if you can come along with me here. I'm 26 years old. I've just got married. We've just bought a house. We've just found out that we're pregnant with Aria. And I've got this overwhelming sense of masculine energy. I need to provide, I need to protect, I need to be better. I need to do something more. I need to be something more. I'm not good enough the way that I am. There was a lot of these things that came up, and I had a few things to work on. So I just said to Bianca just then, like, number one for me, I wouldn't say in regards to the shift of where we're going to go with it tonight. I'm not going to say that stopping smoking was going to help me get on the path, but it was just one thing to give you an idea of how when the shift starts to happen. Some people find quitting something or doing something different challenging. For me personally, I found quitting smoking when Bianca was pregnant with Aria. It was literally, I had a smoke in my mouth, and then I threw it out. I threw the packet out, and I've never smoked again. Like, it was a really simple decision when I was prodded enough to get to that point. Do you know what I mean?
And the reason why we're actually talking about this is because, once again, we're in isolation, and people are pondering, and they're contemplating, and they're thinking. And when you think, like, those thoughts can then become some realities. And when you're faced with the reality of what is, some people may not be happy with where they're at. And that sure as hell was where I was at. Because, when I had Aria, it wasn't that I wasn't happy to be a mum. I was not only, like, it was at the birth of a child, but I was grieving for my old self, and I wanted me back again. And I didn't know how I was going to get there. So I went externally first and started delving into, getting my physical appearance better with my health, which I did amazingly well, and I loved it. And I still love it. And I'm still an independent Herbalife member, and I will always be one. And what I'm saying is it became a lot more than that, with the support of community and with the support of mindset help. So when I was open enough to then see, okay, I'm wanting to make some changes here, not only did I have to make that decision for myself, I needed to be open enough to then accept other people in to actually help me make those changes. And I'm going to really paint a picture for you of what it looks like for a male and what it looks like for a female before they decide to make the shift. What are those priorities that typically, women and men have in their life that then change when they've made that decision to change? Okay, so I'll cover the women's ones. You can cover the men's ones.
Sweet.
All right, so first priority before a woman makes a shift is her first priority is her family. Be the good mum. Be the good wife. You starting to understand where I'm coming from? Like, all those women out there, all those mums, all the daughters. Be the good daughter, like the good girl, Independence is number 2. Feeling independent. I can do it. I've got it. Blah, 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 blah. Number 3, career. There's more for me. Number 4, fitting in. Being like everyone else. Can you relate? And number 5, attractiveness. And I am talking about, this goes beyond like the normal, like what you look like. This is, how do I look, which then creates your whole core value. Like,
your worth.
Okay, so this is deep stuff, all right? Like, you don't have to know it. I'll post a little thing afterwards if you want any of these in terms of men and women, okay? Before the shift for a man, what does it look like?
And for blokes, this is just going to be like, yeah, of course, it's actually pretty simple, and you'll find it's in our innate nature. So number 1, as a male, as a masculine energy, wealth. Mm-hmm. First thing on our mind, like I said to you before, what did I say? I said, am I providing for my family? Yeah. And you'll hear me say it often because it's a massive part of manhood. Mm. Number 2, sense of adventure. I would say, either young or young at heart. Even as blokes get older, they want to do, boys' weekends or whatever. But, this would say before the awareness of a shift, sense of adventure. So getting out there with the boys, doing your thing, not really caring much about responsibility, And then number 3 is achievement. So like, just a perfect classic, ape instinct, beat your chest, this is what I can do, this is how much I can lift, this is what car I own.
You are what you do.
You are what you do, blah, 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 blah. How big is yours to how big is someone else's? Do you know what I mean? And I laugh about this all the time because sometimes I'll stand there and I'll be listening to a conversation. And it's literally just blokes talking about the size of themselves. It's hilarious. Number 4 is pleasure. Once again, guys, I would say that we're more leaning more towards, we can disconnect from the family part. So pleasure for guys is just like, all right, pleasure. What provides me pleasure? What gives me
boys' nights?
Boys' night. Keep me away from pain and give me pleasure. Do you know what I mean? Just whatever that means. And then number 5, you'll hear this come out of most men's mouth. He didn't respect me. He didn't respect. I lost respect for him. And you'll hear blokes talk about it all the time. I laugh my head off when I listen to respect. Because basically that whole list there is, the outer layer of the onion, the ego-driven, male, egotistical person, all of those things. And this is not to say that some of those things aren't important, but they're very superficial. They're very on the outer layer. Do you know what I mean? What we're doing here is we're trying to peel off those layers and go a little bit lower.
Yep. All right. So this is the top of the iceberg stuff, all right? All the stuff that you can see in the majority of people. Then something happens in your life. I become a mum. He becomes a father. Something happens, okay? And I'll give you other examples. It doesn't have to be about becoming a parent, all right?
Yeah, it can really be like any kind of trauma, emotional baggage, like put all of the challenges wrapped up into one.
The moment that you start to question your values, okay, when your values is turned upside down, that is when the shift is starting to happen. It can happen fast, it can happen slow. Typically, it's when the journey begins. We call it the journey to self-discovery. And it's when you start to delve into things that you probably otherwise wouldn't. And this, for a female, is what it happens when the shift happens, okay? So first was family initially before the shift. Now I've gone to my own personal growth. How do I feel about myself? This can also seem to the people who haven't made a shift to be selfishness. It's not. I'm telling you, I will put my hand up, and I'm happy to say I am not a selfish person for putting myself first and my own personal growth above my family. Do I value family? Absolutely. It's up there. But I have to value myself first before I can give to my family anyway. So my own personal growth is number 1. Number 2, when the shift happens, is sense of self-esteem. Isn't that interesting? You used to want to fit in, and I bet at that time you had no self-esteem, but you were just like coercing with everyone else to be like everyone else versus actually be yourself. So sense of self-esteem, I also think, comes from that self-love perspective, which I'll share I'll talk to you about later. But it's knowing yourself again, self-esteem, confidence, so forth. You want to be more confident, and that's where the personal growth comes into it as well. Number 3, spirituality. So number 3 last time was career. Career's not even on the list in the top 5 now. We don't give a shit once you make the shift, because it's like,
what do you do? Who cares?
I just want to do what feels good, right? It doesn't even become about, like, if you can do something that makes you feel good and you're earning an income, for example, that's next level. Like, and we can show you how to do that. But happiness is number 4. So number 4 before was fitting in. Big, like massive, like turn that Titanic around, people. That's like, this is a 360. Number 5, forgiveness. Being able to forgive the people that caused you to not feel confident, that affected your self-esteem and your self-image, and forgive yourself for allowing yourself to even go there. And that was versus attractiveness. So can you see the major differences between before? I'm talking like this for me was like in my 20s, the minute before I had children, because the minute that I had an extra layer of responsibility added to me, I did not give a shit about what other people thought of me anymore. I couldn't. I had so much to give, so much love to give my children, my daughter, that it was just like, I don't have time to think about who you're bitching about now. I don't have time for any of that. Like, I just want to be in this moment and be able to be who I want to be, because I've wasted so much time not being her. Your turn.
For the blokes, I'm going to be upfront and honest with you, because before I even start on this list, because I want to go through some of this stuff, and a lot of guys are just going to be giving me these ones. No deal, Andrew.
They're even listening.
Yeah, that's right. No deal, Andrew.
Ralphie's still there.
Yeah, not having a bar of it. And let me just say, I'm going to say with the first one, I'm going to say a story, how it came about, because how this comes about is not necessarily like clean cut on a list. I just want to say that. And the other part about this list, if I'm being completely honest, I can't say I've met many men in my life. I know people on like social platforms, or when I say I know them, I listen to people on social platforms like Aubrey Marcus, Paul Check, Ty Lopez, Ben Greenfields. These people are connected, like Drew Canoli, are connected on a deeper level than just those egotistical levels.
Yeah.
So, for instance, a guy, number one, is wealth. Before, now is spirituality.
Big difference.
And it's just like,
massive difference.
What? Spirituality. Now, let me be clear. You say spirituality, this is so broad, it's like, call it universal. Because I don't want to say that, you've got to start reading the Bible. It's not what I want to say here. Spirituality, like take the journey wherever it takes you. Yeah. So, for instance, just to give you like, we want to make it real. So for us, when we had Aria, at that point in time, I was listening to someone and he told me about the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. So I started reading The Power of Positive Thinking, and in The Power of Positive Thinking, there was a lot of quotes from the Bible, referring back to the Bible. It was like an old...
it's an old...
It was like an old American, like, Christian book. Yeah. I didn't realize this, reading it, but it was just referring to the Bible. And then I got to a point where we were baptizing Aria, and we sat down with the priest, and he's like grilling us on like, when do you come to church? When do you like what? All these questions. And then I started questioning spirituality. Like, what does it actually mean for me? Why did I go to church? Like, why did my parents send me to church on, Easter and Christmas? Like that made you a good
Catholic.
Good Catholic person or whatever. Whatever it means for you. What I'm saying is delving into spirituality is number one on the list once a bloke makes his shift past his ego. Number two, personal peace.
That doesn't have to be just God, like we said.
That's what, yeah. Let me be universal. Whatever that means for you. I just explained my story. Do you know what I mean? That's being authentic.
Talk about number two.
Number two, personal peace. Personal peace is massive for guys. Personal peace is massive for guys because of the egocentric ways of the wealth, the sense of adventure, the achievement, the pleasure. You're so steered towards energizing, hyped up excitement. You're sort of steering right away from personal peace. You don't even have a moment to gather yourself to contemplate spirituality or personal peace. That's very different. Number three, family. Family wasn't even... So all the first ones on the top of the list, it was all... If you spoke to a guy, they would have said, this is all... I'm doing this for my family. I'm going to work for my family. I need the respect for my family. I need the respect from my family. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're completely different in regards to this shifted way. The family comes onto the list because all of a sudden, when you're thinking your spirituality way, you're in a place of peace. Now, all of a sudden,
what's important is revealed.
This connection starts to come. People are drawn in towards you. Your family is drawn in towards you based upon this shift, which I have felt.
Yes, we have.
Number 4, it's depicted as God's will. I'm going to change it to purpose. So for purpose, this is what it's actually in the book Manhood. I'll always refer back to that book because it's
started.
It's unbelievable, that
Manhood.
book. And they speak about it in Manhood, and number 4 becomes purpose, because once you sit with yourself for a little while, for a bloke, you're gonna need more than just going to work and doing the grind, doing your 7 till 3 like I did, or your 9 till 5, or put in your whatever you do. If you don't have something more than that as a male, if you don't have your purpose-driven life, if you don't have something to drive for, to be honest with you, this is why men, the suicide rate of men is going through the roof. Men don't feel like they have any purpose because they're doing everything that they hate, and they're not sitting with the feeling of what they hate to sort of make the shift. So purpose is massive for blokes. And number 5 is honesty. And I think for this, for the context of honesty, is in a sense of being honest with yourself, being honest with how you're feeling, being honest with the people around you about how you're feeling, and like what's actually going on with you at the moment. And it's so contradictory for a male to do any one of those things. Once again, also referred to in the book Manhood, or just go speak to any bloke and ask them about their feelings.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get a good answer.
Oh, wow. That was a lot. But
you know what? Like we're talking about this. This is deep.
This is deep. But this is not our stuff, okay? So you can watch a movie on YouTube called The Shift, or it's really called Ambition to Meaning. And it's a Wayne Dyer movie, and it's the best movie that you can watch to visually see the shift. Like, they give you different examples of how to witness the shift happen in your own life, but you're watching someone else's life. Very, very good if you're open to sit there for, it's like not even an hour, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it's a bit over an hour. But to touch on the if you're open part, and like everything that we're saying, look, if you're on, you're probably open, I would say. But that's not 100%.
I've lost a few viewers by now.
But that's not to say that this is for everyone, or maybe it's not for you just yet.
Yeah.
Because, like Bianca said, all of this is a journey. Depends when it comes up. It depends when it's of value towards you.
Yeah.
If it's not for you, keep it in the back of your mind. Or the other thing is, at least pass it on if you find it of value to someone else.
Yeah.
Because when we found this stuff, we found it of massive value. We go back and watch this constantly. Yeah. And just another little thing that's on the top of my mind before I forget. There's a author, Eckhart Tolle.
Deep. Seriously
deep. Hard to understand. But what he actually says I think it's in The Power of Now, he says, like, if you are listening to this and it sounds like it's repetitive, then it means that you're not at that level of awareness to understand the next layer of what he's saying. Mm-hmm. That's not a stab. That's cool.
Yeah.
So then you know where you're at.
Yeah.
And you know where you can progress.
Yeah.
What we're saying is you might still be in this realm of either you haven't shifted, you're shifting, you've shifted, one of these areas. It's all cool no matter where you are. Mm. We're not saying one way or the other. Mm. We just want to give the information that we wish we had.
Yeah, like we've had to, if I can give you a really good example, when I promoted tonight, I gave you a few little statements that could sort of show you what I'm talking about. They've changed. Why don't we see you as much anymore? If we go back to like that fitting in thing for a woman before a shift happens, for example, how often do you women find yourself, anyone really, find yourselves, but it's usually the women that organise the events, so they come along with us. So I'll say for us, How often do you find yourself within an event that you actually don't want to be at? And you're sitting there, you've got dressed up, you're sitting there, even if it's at a mum's dinner or whatever it is, a girl's dinner, or you're like, oh, I just don't want to go, but you get dressed and you go because you want to fit in, you want to connect with people, even when it doesn't fit the bill for you anymore. Because spiritually, it doesn't align with who you are. That's not a part of your personal growth. You outgrow people. And the only way that, and I think Anthony and I have even shared this with you guys before from a visual perspective, it's like a balancing scale. Like you're up here and you're growing and you want to you want to get taller and you want to grow stronger and within who you are. And the people that love you aren't really willing to do that right now. And that's fine. But you're going this way and they're going this way. They're not moving, you're moving. And that doesn't mean that, you've changed has to be a negative thing. It's like you've changed. Yeah, I have. And I'm excited and I'm loving that change because you're going through the shift. And the shift is an amazing place to be in when you're ready for it. And it doesn't happen overnight. Like, we still do things that sometimes we don't want to do, but we definitely can say that we have withdrawn from negative associations or just things that don't fit our alignment with who we are and where we're going right now. And I'm okay to say that. We're okay to say that. You'll find us at home more often than anywhere. And if we're out, it's with our family. I can count on one hand my bestest of friends, and that will always be. They love me for who I am. I love them for who they are. But I am not scared to put my happiness first, above all else. So I just wanted to give you that example. And there is another example that I can share. I ran into an old school teacher of mine, a high school teacher of mine, recently at the shops, and we had a great chat. And she was going through the shift. When we got talking, I could hear that she was going through the shift, and she was in her mid-50s. And I just looked at her. She's like, what was I doing for my whole life? Like, I've been teaching my whole life and being a mum and being the best wife and, being up there with what she thought she needed to be, that she actually didn't know who she was. And she came to this revelation. And that was a quote I saw the other day, actually. It was something about this isolation is actually causing revelations versus anything else. So I think that's a good one for this topic. Awesome, Ralph. I'm so glad you're understanding what we're putting down. And she just had all these obstacles thrown her way that in the end, she's like, you know what? I'm giving up my teaching career after 30 years or whatever it was. And I was like, wow, you made some huge changes. And then she was telling me some of the books she was reading and what she was listening to. And I'm like, you're going through the ship. I don't say that.
Yeah.
But I could see that she was going through from the before to the after. And she was at that later stage in her life, or the middle stage of her life. Like, I'm not there yet. But all I think is wow, the sooner you can get to this point, it's like feeling a ton of bricks have been taken off you. And there's just no pressure. You don't find yourself caught up in the day-to-day bullshit. That's the reality of what the shift really is. And what matters comes to fruition and, comes to the boil, basically. And all that doesn't just stays at the bottom. And I like that life, personally. I like that life. It's freeing. You're not tied to other people's agendas. You're tied to your own because you want to be, because you're now looking for that happiness and that, that honesty within your relationships versus, looking for the pleasure everywhere and that sense of achievement and trying to fit in when you can have it all.
Absolutely.
You good?
Yeah.
We're wrapping up?
Yeah.
We're done?
I don't want to say anything past that.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you all for joining us. If you didn't know, we actually officially have a podcast now called Lockdown with the Loshies on iTunes and Spotify. So be sure to jump on over to your preferred platform and subscribe and listen to us, because tonight we've actually dropped you a special episode, an extra episode on self-love, and it's actually called Are You Worth It? So take the time either now or tomorrow if you're in the mood, or in the next, coming week to listen to Are You Worth It? And definitely get you thinking. That's for sure. And be sure to reach out to Anth and I. Like, you can message us through this platform, through Facebook, through Instagram. Ask us any questions that you like. We're more than happy to help you and share with you what we know to help you, start your journey and get you off to the best start possible. So sending you all lots of love from our home to yours. Thank you for locking down with us this Tuesday night.
Have fun.
Love.
See ya.